Hey everyone, Todd here, internalarchitect.com. In this video, I'm going to go over my appointment I had today with my original, well, not my original, but my transplant team, my stem cell transplant team, except they've all kind of changed there. It's 10 years later, but I want to kind of go over that as this was kind of the big meeting for me today to discuss what my treatment options are moving forward into Hodgkins. So hit subscribe down below and hit the bell to get notifications when I put out a video, so you get updated on what's happening currently with the story and with the journey at the moment. So yeah, I appreciate that. And if you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section below. So I had my meeting with the hematologist and the team at CBCI. My original transplant doctor has retired, so all his workload and everything kind of got spread amongst the rest of the oncologists and hematologists at the Colorado Blood Cancer Institute at Presbyterian in Denver. And we went over everything. Met his nurse, met him, and also had a student woman in there just kind of learning, a student nurse, also aspiring doctor, to kind of go through, do some vitals on me and whatnot and whatever. And it was actually a very busy room considering it all. So, but we ended up just discussing a lot of the different options that we have. Now it's been 9 years, or just under 9 years, that I've been in remission. And going forward, there's a lot of complications, I will say, because of having my Hodgkins return, especially almost 9 years later. Like, that's really kind of an odd thing happening. It doesn't happen very often after this much time. And that's why it's a little bit more difficult, because we have already gone through a lot of treatment up to this point to be in remission for this period of time. And because I have a recurrence of the same thing, we have to look at what the next steps are, as the previous ones didn't fully work. And so we discussed a number of things. Well, first of all, what the next transplant would be if I was to do one. And I ended up getting massive book of everything. And this is essentially for an allogenic stem cell transplant. And yeah, I'm not very thrilled about that, honestly. And this is kind of still the last course of treatment to do in case the other two don't work. The first one that we were talking about, and I have to do a little reading, I have to do a little research on this, is kind of a targeted chemotherapy. And maybe some of you know what it is. It's a combination of a couple things, but the main one is a chemotherapy called brentuximab. Yeah, and it's a targeted one specifically for Hodgkins, and they've had some success with it. But it's also a relatively new chemotherapy in the last 5 or 6 years. So the odds of success are pretty good, in the 70 percentile side of it, but I don't know what the longevity side is after that. And there's not enough time that has elapsed to really give an idea and an understanding to what is going on there. I have a lot of research to do on this first round of chemotherapy, this targeted chemotherapy, before we do that. And then if that doesn't work, there's possibility of some just some immunotherapy style treatment also to do. But I got to be careful with that, because if, the next thing I have to do is, or the last thing I have to do is this allogenic stem cell transplant. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. And my biggest fears, so that there's two big fears going on with this. And the first one is if we're successful with this first round of treatment with this new chemotherapy, this targeted chemotherapy, there's a high possibility that I have to be on a maintenance type of chemo for an indefinite amount of time. And I'm not too keen on that. At this point, I've worked really hard to get my health back into a really good optimum shape. And I just, I'm having a hard time processing that right now. The other one has to do with this allogenic transplant. And it has, for some of you that have been through this, you'll know exactly what I mean. And it's a legitimate fear, and that has to do with the graft hosting disease. And that's just so the allogenic transplant means that I would get stem cells from a donor out. They're not my own stem cells, like it's like what I had before. And when that happens, your body naturally wants to fight off those intruders, essentially. And so your body starts to fight each other. Your immune system starts to fight the intruding stem cells that is going to essentially produce a new immune system for you. And there's a lot of complications and a lot of drugs and a lot of other shit that comes along with that. And I've lost 2 friends to this graft hosting disease due to just the complications that come along with it. And that's a huge fear of mine right now. And I'm just trying to really get an idea of what it is that I want to do as far as treatment goes. And right now, the outcomes for both of these, I'm not liking very much. So I have a lot of questions still. I have a lot of information I have to get caught up on, and really I need a little time to process all this also. So my wife was down there with me along with my daughter, and so we let them know just exactly where we're coming from, why we have a lot of fears, why our anxieties are high, and it was duly noted, and they were nice. It's very obvious when you go to a city. I'm a country boy. I'm a mountain kid at heart. I live in a big bubble up here in Touristville, Colorado, and so when you go to the big city to talk to people about medical stuff, and it's not that they don't care, they have this kind of demeanor of like, just happens all the time. We just don't really get really involved with people too deep of a level because they come and go and they just see it all the time that way. So I totally understand it. And it's just, I don't know, the impersonal part of it is really kind of a tough thing, where going over to Edwards, where I kind of started with a new oncologist, they're just a lot more friendlier. They're a lot happier. And it's just a different, they're just 2 different worlds is really what it comes down to, in how it's all approached. And I don't know. So I'm just, I think that's probably why I have a hard time coming to Denver, is because it brings back a lot of memories of my previous cancer experience 9 years ago. And I just try to avoid it as best as I can. So yeah, I just wanted to, right now I'm feeling pretty, a bit deflated is probably a pretty good word for it right now. It's just a lot of information. I was left with more questions, I think, now that I had, a couple hours to think about it a little bit. And I'm not sure what is going to be the right direction at this point in time. I just think that there has to be some other ways too. And I want to make sure that before any decisions are made, that everything is laid out on the table, so that we can, as a family, also really make the best decision for myself and the longevity of not only my life, but also, you know, as a quality of life living also. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, if you have any questions, hit me in the comment section below. I just wanted to put this out as a video right after having this discussion happen, and I wanted to make sure that you can, and I'm sure you can tell in the tone of my voice, I'm probably pretty confused. I'm probably pretty frustrated sounding, and that's all the above in it all right now. There's a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions happening that are conflicting at the moment. That's the best way to put it. So I was telling my wife as we were driving up the hill, for some reason I'm going through this experience and I don't like it right now. I don't understand it right now, but at some point it's going to make sense to me, and it's going to show me a light that obviously I'm missing for some reason going on, and the experience is going to teach me something that is going to be so valuable. I'm just learning that the fear is there, and it's very real, and it's bringing back a lot of old memories too, and some PTSD within myself. But so the things I'm going to be doing moving forward here, because we're still, I mean, theoretically, I could start therapy next week, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's a good chance I have to get a port placed to go through this and to kind of facilitate everything. So there's a lot of logistics that are involved with this, and just working on trying to figure that all out. So I'm going to be just trying to stay as active as I can, stay as busy as I can. I'm going to continue putting some videos out so that you guys can keep following along and understand that this is kind of a heavy journey for this reoccurrence. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time and energy so much. I can't even tell you. And just want to say thank you. So thank you for listening. You guys have a great evening and a good rest of your day. So until next time, have a great evening.